Alright, boys and girls, so today in class we did this practice test, but in case you wanted extra practice or if you weren't sure how we got an answer and you wanted to go over it, I'm going to go through this test again. So if you want to do it like extra practice, go ahead and pause the video, write down these 5 questions, and press play when you're done, and you can check your answers with my work. And if you just want to watch, that's fine. Either way, here we go. So for this first one, it says 2 times the quantity D plus 9. Now, D equals 8, so we're going to rewrite this as 2 times 8 plus 9. 8 plus 9 is 17, so we're going to rewrite this as 2 times 17, and 2 times 17 is 34, and that's our answer. For this next one, this is 3 times D plus 4 times F. Now, D is equal to 8, so we're going to write 3 times 8, plus, and we have 4 times F. F is equal to negative 4. So now, remember with order of operations, we do multiplication before we do addition. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus, and 4 times negative 4, that's going to be negative 16. So now, to solve this, 24 plus negative 16 is going to be positive 8, and that's our answer. If you wanted to type this in your calculator, remember you type in 24 plus 16 and make that 16 negative because it's negative there. Check for that negative sign, equals 8. Now for this next problem, we have EF divided by 4. Anytime you have something touching a letter, it's multiplication. So this is E times F, and if E equals 3, and F equals negative 4, and now we're going to divide that by 4. So let's take care of the top first. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, and the denominator is 4. This is still going to be negative, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now we have E squared plus 1. E is equal to 3, so we're going to write this as 3 squared plus 1. Now remember, this exponent tells us how many times to write the base number in a multiplication problem. So we're going to write down 2 3's. So it's going to be like this, 3 times 3. If this exponent was 5, I would have wrote 5 3's. Don't forget that plus 1. 3 times 3 is 9, so we have 9 plus 1, and 9 plus 1 equals 10. Last one, this is 2 multiplied by E squared. So we're going to write this as 2 times, and the letter E was equal to 3, so we have 3 squared. Now, 3 squared, just like up here, we know that's going to be 2 times 3 times 3. The exponent 2 tells us to write the 3 twice. 3 times 3 is 9, so we have 2 times 9. And 2 times 9 equals 18. All right. Next set. Describe the relationship between the terms and write the next 2 terms. That's what we're going to do for 6. Well, from 2.4 to 3.2, we have an increase of 0.8. From 3.2 to 4.0, we have an increase of 0.8. And from 4.0 to 4.8, we have an increase of 0.8. Now, if you're not sure how to find that increase, take the second term and subtract the first. So 3.2 minus 2.4 equals 0.8. And that would be the same if you do 4.0 minus 3.2 and 4.8 minus 4.0. So the next 2 terms, all we're going to do is just continue the pattern, adding 0.8. So 4.8 plus 0.8 is going to be 5.6. And 5.6 plus 0.8 is going to be 6.4. Well, that takes care of the next 2 terms, but we still have to describe the relationship. So what we're going to say is 0.8 is added to the previous term. You can abbreviate previous, P-R-E-V, period, term. Now, if you write this in different words, that's fine, but you have to have 0.8 you have to tell me it's being added to the previous term, previous number, previous amount. You need those three things. If you don't have those three things, I will mark the sentence wrong. Now for number 7, they give us a pattern, 0.4, 0.8, and 1.2. Number 1 says, write the algebraic expression to find the value of any term. Well, in order to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to look and see what this is increasing by in this arithmetic sequence. So this is going up by 0.4 each time. So what you do is you take the amount it's increasing by and you put it with a letter. I'll put W. That's the algebraic expression. And now to find the value of the 3,578th term, all you're going to do is take this number and plug that in for your variable. And you can use any letter for that. It doesn't matter. So in this case, we're going to do 0.4 times 3,578. And when we do that, 0.4 times 3,578, we end up getting 1,431.2. Now, I'm going to show you 2 more examples just like this so you can feel really comfortable writing the expression and coming up with the term at the end. If I had a sequence of, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20. Well, right here you can see that every single one is going up by 5. So if we wanted to write the algebraic expression to get any term, we would say 5A. And this could be any letter. The letter's not important. And if I said, what's the next term? Well, all I'm going to do is just add 5 to this. So the next term would be 25. If I said, what was the, 200th term? All I would do is take this algebraic expression, and I would put 200 into it. And 5 times 200, that's going to be 1,000. Another one, let's say I had 2, 4, 6, 8, and I wanted the algebraic expression for any term. This is increasing by 2 each time, so I would say 2A. And if I wanted the 100th term, 2 times 100 would be 200. All right, so now let's take a look at the back. So these questions right here, 8 through 11, go ahead and pause the video, write them down, try to figure them out, press play when you're ready. Okay, so right here, anytime I have 0 added to something, it doesn't change. 5 plus 0 is 5, 3 plus 0 is 3, SpongeBob plus 0 is SpongeBob, so A plus 0 is going to be A. Anything times 1 is itself. 5 times 1 is 5. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Tuna fish times 1 is tuna fish. And B times 1 is B. Anything times 0 equals 0. So 3 times 0 is 0. 1,000,000 times 0 is 0. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. So C times 0, 0. Now for this one right here, I can actually solve this. You could do distributive property, but you don't have to. 5 plus 6 is 11. So we have 3 times 11. Remember, with order of operations, you do what's in the parentheses first. And 3 times 11 equals 33. If you did use distributive property to solve this, you'd still get the same answer. I'll show you. So if I rewrite this with distributive property, 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 times 6 is 18, and 15 plus 18, 33. All right, so now let's take a look at the next set of problems. We're going to use distributive property to rewrite each expression. So go ahead and pause the video, write these down, try and solve them, and when you're ready, press play. We'll go over them. Okay, so here we go. So in order to do these ones, I strongly recommend that you draw the little arrows or half circles or whatever, something to indicate what you're doing. And you want to do this in order. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 4 and I'm going to distribute it among everything in these parentheses. So it's going to be 4 times the quantity x plus 7. Let's take a look. First thing I have is 4 times x. So I write 4x. This operation here, this plus, I'm just going to bring that down. And I recommend on your test paper that you draw that little arrow and you draw this arrow letting you know that the plus was already used. Now I have 4 times 7, and 4 times 7 is 28. and we're done. So now let's take a look at this one. I have 6 times p, so I write 6p. I have a minus sign. You can draw that arrow. That way you know that the minus sign has been used. If you want to draw a little loop around it, that's fine. The reason why I recommend it is because I don't want you to think this is -5. It's not. It's minus a +5. And the reason why that's important is because when you do this set, 6 times 5, you need to know it's positive, so the answer is +30. You don't want to accidentally think it's times -5 and write -30 here. So there's the answer right there, 6p minus 30. Now let's take a look at this one. First we have -2 times x. That's -2x. I'm going to bring down that subtraction sign. And now I have -2 times 8. When signs are different, the answer is negative. So I'm going to put parentheses there to separate that negative sign. And -2 times 8 is going to be -16. So your answer is -2x minus -16. Now, if you use keep, change, change to rewrite this as an addition problem, keep -2x, change, plus, change, +16. You could do that too. I'm guessing most of you are going to have this on your test, and that's fine. That's what I'm going to be looking for. But if you write that, that's also correct. And this is the more simplified version. Okay, so right here, I've got 5 times -3x. So, when I have numbers and letters, look how I do this. 5 times -3 is -15, and the only letter I have here is x. So I write down -15x. Bring down your plus, and now I have 5 times 7y. Well, 5 times 7 is 35, and the only letter there is y. So there's my answer. So now, let's take a look at the fraction. With this one, I do it the same way. 1/3 times x. So I'm going to write 1/3 x. Bring down my subtraction sign, and now I have 1/3 times 6. So I'm going to write 1/3 times 6. Remember, parentheses mean multiplication. Now I'm actually going to put this problem up here to give myself more room because I'm going to show a lot of steps just so it's easy to understand. So I'm writing the exact same thing, no different than what I had here, same exact thing. 1/3 x minus 1/3 times 6. Now, this part right here is not going to change, but right here I can simplify this. This 6, I'm going to put this over 1 to make it a fraction. That way I can multiply this and simplify it. So on my next line, let's call this line A. On my next line, line B, I've got 1/3 x minus 1 times 6 is 6. That's my new numerator. My denominator, 3 times 1 is 3. And I can simplify this again because 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. So now I've got 1/3 x minus, that part still didn't change, but 6 divided by 3, that's going to be 2. So my final answer is 1/3 x minus 2. Now the last ones. Here I've got -6a times the quantity 2b plus 5c. Well, -6a times 2b. -6 times 2 is going to be -12. It's negative because the signs are different. The letters are a and b, so I write ab. Bring down the plus. Now I've got this -6a times 5c. Well, -6 times 5, signs are different, so it's negative. That's -30. I put my parenthesis there to separate the plus from the negative sign, and the letters were AC. So I write AC. For 18, I've got -4m times 3n. Well, -4 times 3 is going to be -12, and mn are the letters, so I write mn. I bring down the subtraction sign. Right here, -4m times 6p. Well, -4 times 6 is going to be -24. So I open up parentheses, -24, and the letters are m and p, so I write mp.